Hey everyone!
Hello, welcome to
Welcome.
Transhumanism Tech Channel.
How's it going? We're going to be watching the live stream, which will begin shortly
Hey,
with the Neuralink announcements and progress update
aren't we
Summer 2020.
aren't we doing this?
Oh yeah, we're doing this. Get your t-shirt at Transhuman Apparel.
Uh-huh.
Like this.
Like this.
Like
Like
this.
this.
Transhuman. Transhuman Tech Channel.
Yeah.
I've got my hotkeys set. So if I want to stop,
hmm
I'll just press one of those hotkeys. And it looks like there is 66,000 people waiting for this to start. And looks like the
Damn.
countdown has just stopped, so it's going to start any second now.
hmm
So Sunny, let me go like this, and like this, and then when it starts, I'll just go full screen.
Yeah. I'm thinking what the best layout should be like.
Hmm. I'll probably put it in the top right once it goes full screen.
So I exit full screen?
When the YouTube goes full screen.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get it set up right.
Oh yeah. Oh, your screen.
Yeah, my screen.
Hmm.
So like I can see you and the live stream.
Yeah, sure. You want to see me?
Yeah, I want to see your face,
My
your reaction.
face. No, you want to see Elon's face.
I want to see all faces. I don't discriminate.
Mm.
Oh, I
Funny
need
how it's
to
got like
get.
11,000 likes with like no actual content and only 135 negative most likes.
Yeah, I don't like what I haven't seen.
Yeah, that's right. You said shortly. This has been shortly.
You're 1 minute behind schedule.
And it's just jumped up like to 80,000 all of a sudden because of the timing. People must have set reminders.
Yeah,
Yeah,
one can only dream of having 80,000 people waiting for your live stream.
one can only dream.
79,000.
Yeah, they've got to convert
Mate,
those into transhumanism tech channel viewers.
yes.
And I was looking
This
at
is
some of
8
the.
o'clock on a Saturday morning.
Yeah, that's
This isn't
Australian.
normal.
The US
Yeah,
guy's
but
like 5 p.m.
that's true. But in Australia, nobody wakes up on a Saturday at 8 a.m. with
Except
full
like our
makeup on.
friends.
Hey everyone, welcome to the Transhumanism Tech Channel. I'm Elise Sue, and
T.Z.
all right,
Not
you do the
awkward.
intro.
Not awkward. Now you do a countdown and then we can do the t-shirt thing.
All right, 1, 2, 3.
Transhumans. Now no one will definitely not buy the t-shirt.
Look, it doesn't want to look like this.
Like this. Like this. Like this.
All right, guys. So we are waiting for the Neuralink live announcement to start. It's 5 minutes past their scheduled time. Technical difficulties.
Could have had 5 minutes extra sleep.
Yeah, mate. In
Mate.
Australia, it's 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning.
I think nothing beats the smell of a burning brain in the morning.
I don't feel like my brain's even working right now.
Need an implant?
Yep. Or just coffee. Hey, you know that? Look, this mug is the same size as my face. I mean, if I hold it at the right angle.
Wow. Makes my face like imagine if makes my cup look like a baby, but either that or it's the same size and my head's really big.
Your head's just really big.
My face. My bun.
Hey, do you want to talk about Gartner bidirectional BMI?
Oh yeah. So the latest hype cycle got released from Gartner on emerging technologies, and one of the things on the rise in the 5 to 10 year horizon is called the bidirectional brain machine interface. So we saw this coming. We saw brain computer interfaces come along in previous years, but now it's bidirectional, and now they've actually provided user advice for people in enterprise that might have employees, experimenting with these things. And so the user advice is it'll be just like bring your own device situations when the smartphones first came out. So they're envisaging an employee
It's
just rocking
mainstream
up to
already.
work, yeah, with a brain computer interface hooked up to their head and go, so how do I connect to the work server? Or how do I receive emails, like work emails, or connect to the Wi-Fi? What's the password to your Wi-Fi? And so they're recommending that you first consider the pros and cons of the health, safety, as well as the benefits before onboarding these or recommending any specific BMI products. Essentially all the general corporate risk and legal advice and HR advice you would put together just in case these bring your own device BMIs start appearing in the workplace, which is surreal. Like it feels like it's right now because they're saying it's 5 to 10 years. So they're essentially gearing up companies in preparation for the legal teams and the risk and legal teams ahead of this wave of biohackers and BYO devices.
Damn, we can't even get one for personal use right now.
Yeah.
And they're already drawing up policies, procedures, security frameworks.
Let me just bring it up. I want to see. Maybe we can... yeah. Get posted on Facebook before then.
Post this on Facebook?
Yeah.
True. Gotta share this.
Share.
So, what do you reckon's gonna happen today?
I think they're gonna do a live demo of the neurons firing. And working on a real implant that's implanted in a human.
Oh yeah, they
Either
did say they'll.
Yeah, or a monkey.
Yeah, they did say they were gonna start human trials. More hopefully, they wanted to this year. So they probably started doing it, or they have done it in like patient zero.
Yeah, probably likely patient zero, given the hype that sort of Elon's tweeting. Because from the sounds of it, it's like an actual human neuron rather than a animal.
They've already done the monkeys, so they need to go one step further. Otherwise, it's like old news.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, monkey again, and it's the same monkey. And it's like, get out of here.
He can probably do more this time.
Do more?
Yeah, the monkey.
Oh, it's up to about 92,000 people in the waitlist now. It's insane. Man, I post a lot of crap.
You sure do.
Here it is.
It's live now?
Yeah. No. I'm going to share my screen for a sec.
Wait, let me just refresh my screen. Live stream will begin shortly, apparently. Has yours started?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm on my Facebook.
Way to tease.
I'm on my Facebook. Way to
tease. Oh.
Yeah, so this is Highlight trade-offs when promoting wellness solutions. Business security beyond GDPR and data privacy. Take responsibility. Have a steering
Oh,
board.
okay.
To products sold to consumers and provided to employees. Preempt potential legal liability by regularly reviewing implanted wearable features. Read, write from and to users' brains. Surreal, right? Unauthorized implantables. Corporate espionage. It'd be similar to like risk posed by drugs or stimulants.
Mm.
Yeah.
And then like they haven't talked about HR policies. Are you going to have a non-discrimination policy where you can't ask them if they've got a brain implant or not, and you're not going to favor people who have brain implants over those who don't?
Oh, it's going to be implant diversity.
Or it's going to go the opposite, where you don't have brain implant, we can't hire you, mate, because you're just going to be left behind your colleagues.
Yeah, it's going to be in the the job description. It's like implanted.
Implanted, and then they specify in brackets Neuralink.
Neuralink, yeah. We own it. We're
Neuralink accepted only.
Yeah, we're a platform.
Yeah, because it's going to be platform wars.
Yeah.
If you're not compatible with the other BYOD devices.
Yeah. We're a Microsoft shop, and we're a Neuralink shop.
Yeah. Oh, I guess I should do a sound check. How's my sound?
Yeah, it's pretty good though.
All right.
I mean, Elise.
I gotta adjust my settings on YouTube, but it doesn't even allow me to because he hasn't started.
I'll check their Twitter account as well to see what's
happening.
What's happening? It's like we killed the guy. Oops.
It's delayed. The weather conditions weren't right.
Weather conditions. They're also doing a live Q&A session during the event. So
ask Neuralink.
Yeah, hashtag.
Yeah.
Hashtag.
Cool.
What's Elon tweeting? He's tweeting about his Model Y. What's going on? That's probably miking up. Okay. Neuralink feed. How many simultaneous viewers will the Neuralink presentation peak at? Some guy said 69, 420. The Neuralink feed. Well, I think they exceeded that.
Yeah, it's actually 96. It's actually 96,000 at the moment.
96, 420, yeah.
Oh, it will nearly reach that. It's at 96,395. Let me do a refresh. I'm behind. Oh, it's exceeded. No, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
It's 96,846.
Oh. Damn,
yeah,
son.
we're going to reach 100K soon.
I think that's what they're waiting for. They're just waiting for like 100,000 viewers before they begin. Just be like, it ain't worth getting out of bed before pre 100K.
Yeah. In Australia, that is. Who gets out of bed for 8 a.m. live stream on a Saturday?
Let it out, dude. Pour it out. Now it's 69, 690. I mean, 96, 690. 100,000 people.
It's 97. It's 97 already. Yeah.
Well, 100,000 people apparently. Gotta do the Asian.
with no money spent on marketing, only PR. And he probably didn't even pay for the PR. He just tweeted something. And then all the papers started writing about it.
Yeah, that's why you should just focus all your budget on the product. Cool product.
He does a lot of speaking. That helps.
Yeah, getting on podcasts.
Yeah.
Plus the
conferences.
And it's just cool shit.
And the tweets.
And the original content.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. They're opening up Facebook Horizon invite only beta now? Or is it an alpha?
Mm-hmm.
And they just released a couple of videos. So one of them was an Oculus safety video, and so in Horizons. But what they said is that it'll always be recording, so that you can report any sort of, malicious content. What was that? It's like
vitamins, vitamin D, mate.
Yeah, I got my vitamin D.
Yeah.
Waka waka waka. Pac-Man.
I was going to take her vitamins one way or another. in this COVID era, ain't nobody touching their vitamins.
That's right. You got a skill test of that shit. But yeah, so the safety video was like, it's always going to be recording, because if you wanted to report something that was, malicious or abuse, you can automatically submit that section of the video. And I was like, that's just what we want to do with the Open Pilot and the traffic reporting. But the downside is that it's always recording, so the privacy is pretty much not there, right? I don't know. Maybe it doesn't submit to the head server, but I doubt that. There's probably some embedded analytics that they're running in the background as it's everything captured. Most likely. It's Facebook, man. Why would they give away data? Let data go to waste.
Hey, babe, can you not mention personal stuff?
Okay. We'll do the intro again.
No, just not projects that we're working on.
Oh, yeah, that's true. 100,000, babe. 99,413. All right, so when the stream starts, we'll do an intro, because I can't be bothered editing out anything else.
Yeah, okay, true. Let's start the intro again.
And we can have our B-reel. We can have our side-reel. Yeah.
Oh, okay, but we talked about cool stuff before this.
Yeah,
now
we'll have a B-reel. I'll put it at the back.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's get our intro down. So I'll just do the intro that I normally do, and then you intro yourself. Okay. And then what? And then you talk about Neuralink, how it's like void watching Neuralink. So I'll just say this is the tech channel. Let's start. Okay. Hey everyone, I'm Elise Sue, and you're watching the Transhumanism Tech Channel.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter C. I'm also part of Transhumanism Australia, and you are watching the Neuralink live stream progress update of summer 2020. Awkward turtle.
Check out our t-shirt.
Buy my t-shirt.
Check out our t-shirt.
Alright, so you intro, I intro, back to you on the t-shirt.
Okay, start again.
Yes.
Hey everyone, I'm Elise Sue, and you're watching the Transhumanism Tech Channel.
Hi everyone, I'm Peter Singh, part of Transhuman Australia, and you are watching the Neuralink progress update of summer 2020.
Yay! So check out our t-shirts. Look, we got matching t-shirts that say transhuman. And you can get one yourself. I've included the link below.
Down below.
Yes.
So, 100,000 people waiting on a live stream that started at 8 a.m. Sydney, Australia time. Damn.
It is now 8:21 a.m. So I reckon they're probably implanting something into something right now.
And something's gone wrong.
Yeah.
I love this.
So whatever that something is.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe it's Elon himself.
Oh yeah. He's just gonna appear like into a Megatron transformer. He's like, I am Mega Elon. Mecha Elon, sorry. Mecha Elon.
It's too risky. If anything goes wrong, then we don't have him.
Yeah, it's true. Like,
He can't be patient zero.
Yeah, that's why we can't send him to Mars first. He needs some, sacrificial lambs of humanity from NASA.
Yeah, I think he's already said that. He's not going to be the first to go.
But he probably just doesn't want to die on impact. He wants to die on Mars, just not on impact.
Fair enough.
I made it.
Yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah. That's why.
To be honest, I don't want to live on Mars.
Yeah, that way, if he has Neuralink, then he can have a backup of himself, and he can sacrifice his own body. Like just more Elon, just clone his brain, like back up his brain. I would download.
Then we don't need Mars.
Yeah, that's true. But Mars is more like a human intrinsic value type mission. You know, you just do it as a human because of existence.
We need somewhere to store our data centers. So Mars is probably it for now, as the interim solution.
Yeah.
Because if Earth is going to blow up, then we don't have the data centers.
Yeah, that's right. We need a backup planet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's like for what's the word when you have like redundancy? Yeah. It's like replication in different regions. You have the Earth region or the Mars region.
Yeah, that's right. It's like, oh no, I'm using a VPN from Earth to get Mars internet.
Oh.
Damn, it takes like days to get a signal back.
Days.
No, seconds, minutes.
Yeah. So, about this live stream that will begin shortly.
Shortly, eh? 102,000. I want to see what's happening on Twitter. Let me just bring it up.
Yeah, good idea.
I reckon ask Neuralink.
Neuralink. Yeah, Neuralink just tweeted, right?
Futurism is also. Yeah, updates. Hashtag ask Neuralink. Why is PS5 getting into the stream? Damn promotional bloody ad. Where do we sign up for human trials? What is the 25-year roadmap for Neuralink? That's pretty good. Will this tech ever be used for gaming? Yep. Can you describe the security precautions being taken to avoid a Neuralink device being hacked? Yep.
Do you wanna? Oh, you're on the Ask Neuralink.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Tag.
I'll share my screen. Yeah, I'll share my screen so you can see.
Okay. Cool.
Can the Neuralink chip allow you to summon your Tesla telepathically? That's good.
Yes.
Yes. We should tweet something about this. When is the Neuralink live stream going to start? Hashtag ask Neuralink. What type of mental illnesses and brain-related diseases will be solvable by Neuralink?
What do you think we should tweet?
Are you in the process of implanting a human right now as we wait for your live stream? How will the implant be powered? I reckon that's going to be actually, so it'll be on the external device with the battery that you can recharge, that you can separate. So it's modular and you can charge it up and switch up a different battery. But this might eventually become powered by the sugars in our blood or brain. So just like any other part of the body, eventually if we get digital biology right. Yeah, some very very concerning sort of comments here as well. It's like people actually have mental diseases that Neuralink can actually solve. Mental illnesses. My daughter and I built a brain-controlled exoskeleton for a paralyzed arm, and it worked. But the fidelity of the signal we get through the skin is poor. Could a Neuralink be used to provide higher fidelity signals? Yep, that's pretty good.
I just tweeted with the hashtag.
Elise.
Nice.
Nice. Are you planting a human right now? Is that why the live stream is left? Such a troll.
Nothing constructive.
Nothing constructive. Yeah. Are we there yet?
Let's ask a real question.
Yeah. How many? 103. Wow. This is the fashionable debate. Yeah.
They're going for 200K, I reckon.
Yeah. The anticipation is probably a good marketing strategy to get
for
people excited. What is consciousness? What is the meaning of life? Asked Neuralink. Can you pay my bills? Oh, is the company going to go public? I doubt that, unless they get to the mass market and make everyone a shareholder. When will y'all go public?
Y'all.
Wow, so many questions about going public.
People want to invest.
How Neuralink's project unifies with SpaceX Tesla. Thank you. Yeah.
I made another tweet.
The brain. Oh, yeah?
How many other tweets can we make? Give me a good one.
I like that. Is Elon part of the transhumanism movement on paper? Can he please hashtag transhumanism in the Neuralink feed? Transhuman.
Is Elon part of the transhumanism movement?
Yeah, I think so, but he's a deathist. That's the thing. He still wants to die so that he has that, fear of, impeding notion of death, so that it does more with a limited time. But surely, you could just create some own deadlines, or why would you die? That's such a waste. I think the pros and cons of that deadline is a net negative.
Maybe he just wants to be part of the human experience. He finds humanity really beautiful and he wants to experience the full extent of being a human.
Well, we'll ask him
whatever that means
before he dies, and then we'll say, do you want another day to continue on to tweet? So can you imagine not being able to tweet ever again?
Yes, true. I made another tweet. Ooh. You should tweet as well.
Yeah, should I?
Yeah.
Should we tweet? Is Elon part of the transhumanism movement? Yeah. Tweet. I never use Twitter on the desktop that much. With Neuralink and potential to back up our minds. Does this mean that Elon Musk will consider indefinite lifespan in the cloud.
Whoa, that's a good one.
Yeah. Or maybe this is something else. Instead of indefinite lifespan, it could be just live forever. Living forever. Is it more clickbaity?
Yeah. Living forever. Never dying. Will this mean Elon Musk will consider never dying?
Never dying.
Nah, just kidding.
Done. How are we doing? 103,000. Damn. How are you gonna keep 100,000 people waiting on a live stream? You should be more prepared for this. The haters are coming. The haters are coming. The people are like,
be all prepared for this.
It's like, you're inconveniencing me.
Look at the next one. What can we do?
Like to make the stream start.
And what's the company? Control what? Control the Facebook company. I never remember its name.
CTRL Labs.
Ah, okay. Better Google that. How to spell it properly.
Control Labs.
Okay. It's got a dash. Nice. And what's the other one? There's one that starts with P as well.
The one that Facebook bought.
There's another one.
Some other company bought.
No, never mind.
Yeah, there's a bunch of BMIs in that Gardner report. Yeah, they list out like all the BMI companies under that section.
Yeah.
This is how we've solved the problem of Martians needing intensive knowledge transfer for their survival. What the
Martians. Martian survival. I think we're the one with the existential risk.
Yeah, screw the Martians. Think Earth first. Earth first.
Oh, it's an alien. He's an alien.
He's an alien. Yeah. Is it plausible that in the near future, Neuralink will allow its users to download their consciousness into an AI environment? For me, that's the only solution for eternal life. Well said. When does it begin? Come on, start. That was 20 minutes ago.
Come on, start.
Come on, start. Always been a fan of biohacking. That's good. What will be your first consumer application of Neuralink according to your current plan? Pretty good. 106,000. Damn. This sounds
still hasn't started.
Come on, start. I'm not like that. When does it begin? How are you gonna keep 100,000 people waiting on a live stream? You should be a bit more prepared for this. It's like you can implant a chip and wires into a brain, but you can't do a live stream.
Technical issues.
He's trying to beam it out to the brain. This might be kind of funny, but will it be possible to achieve full dive VR using Neuralink in the future? Of course. It's not that funny. It's already been done. Which application excites you the most? So if you think about Neuralink being wireless and checking it out by iPhone, it's going to make it possible to stream music. But in addition to this, it will also be possible to use as wireless headphones. Ah, very good. Yes, we can no longer have to pay for the $300 iPhone AirPods Pros. $399 Aussie.
I think it's there should be another way to look at it. Music is just created in your brain.
Yeah.
It's like you're just implanting an experience. You're also implanting music.
Yeah, it'd be a
It's
different
also
form
an
of music. So
experience.
you have sound, video, music, and then a music video, and then there'll be like actual experience music. Yeah, I like it.
You're just replaying a memory. It's
With,
almost like that.
yeah, with a cool soundtrack.
Yeah. So you know how you have music in your music library, then that you could actually just put it, implant it as or download it as a memory.
Yeah.
And it should be stored in your music library up in here.
And you're able to Photoshop it to make it better.
Yeah. And then you can just play it. Or otherwise you could just stream music.
Yeah.
Stream the experience. So there's like data stored or there's data streamed.
Yeah. It gets a bit hot in the head. Hot-headed. And like, you'll also be able to simultaneously experience like a music festival with billions of people on the planet. Just like one soundtrack, one experience, one humanity, and then you're part of the ball before you know it.
I think it's better to put people in a dreamlike state. It's probably easier to do. Otherwise, you have other stimulations.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can shut out all the other stimulations or your other senses, because how are you going to you're experiencing something in your head, like you're stimulating neurons, but then what if you're also using your other physical senses like your sight? I just don't know how that's going to work, because there's definitely going to be some clashes. Unless you can do both at the same time and you won't be overstimulated.
In the future, could Neuralink allow us to induce psychedelic states of consciousness? Asking for a friend. Not me. Oh, you can create another one. Yeah, control that. That's right. Live stream starting shortly. Please reply to this. Oh, great. It's an update 2 minutes ago. Shortly. 110,000 waiting. Damn, son. I think they just expect people to be late, so they know how to hype shit up.
Yeah.
I want to see the responses to this. Why you fake us the starting time? Will Neuralink eventually get into whole brain emulation? If not, why the fuck
not?
Why the fuck not? That's good. Will users have access to APIs and encryption keys? That's pretty good. What is the timeline for production and getting in the hands of consumers?
Hey, I might make myself another tea. If it starts before, I can just watch the recording.
Okay. And I'll do the intro for you. All good.
Yes. Okay. Well, we've already done the intro. We just have to cut a portion out.
I'll have an English breakfast, thanks.
See you.
Wow, what is general security going to be like? How hackable could this potentially be? How many years until I unlock a Tesla with my brain? Serious. I like it. It's impossible. It's impossible. Shit, I'm just talking to myself now. Damn it. Oh, it's starting. I knew she's going to miss it. Alright. Pop it up. Okay, this isn't going to work. It's taking up too much of the screen.
All right, welcome to the Neuralink product demo. I'm really excited to show you what we've got. I think it's going to blow your mind. So the primary purpose of this demo is actually recruiting. So I'm going to emphasize this at the beginning and then again at the end. We're not trying to raise money or do anything else. The main purpose of this is to convince great people to come work at Neuralink and help us bring the product to fruition, make it affordable and reliable, and such that anyone who wants one can have one. And so I want to emphasize the purpose of Neuralink. Like, what's our goal? Our goal is to solve important spine and brain problems with a seamlessly implanted device. So you want to have a device that you can basically put in your head and feel and look totally normal, but it solves some important problem in your brain or spine. And the reality is that almost everyone over time will develop brain and spine problems. These range from minor to very severe, but if you live long enough, everyone's going to basically have some kind of neurological disorder. And these range from memory loss to brain damage, but the thing that's important to appreciate is that an implantable device can actually solve these problems. I think a lot of people don't quite realize that. But all of your senses, your sight, hearing, feeling,
You're gonna do it live?
pain, these are all electrical signals sent by neurons to your brain. And if you can correct these signals, you can solve everything from memory loss, hearing loss,
Nice.
blindness, paralysis,
These are all,
depression,
brain
insomnia,
problems.
extreme pain, seizures, anxiety, addiction, strokes, brain damage. These can all be solved with an implantable Neuralink. This is an extremely fundamental thing, and I think a lot of people don't quite understand that. The neurons are like wiring, and you kind of need an electronic thing to solve an electronic problem. So current medical research, we'll just go through what is the state of the art in medical research, and then what's the state of the art in what consumers or people in general can get. So the current medical research has shown that you can read neurons in a human's brain. So there's something called the Utah array, which has about 100 channels per array.
For Mormons.
But it's like, kind of like a bed of rigid spikes that's literally inserted with an air hammer. So that's slightly discomforting, I think. And there's wires and a box on your head, and so it's some infection risk. And obviously, it will look pretty weird if you walk around with boxes on your head. And in order to use it, you have to have an expert medical professional there, and it's only been done in a few dozen people. So, but it is served as an important proof of concept that this can be done. So, we did want to point this out and show that this actually does work. It's just not something that the average person could use effectively. And in terms of what is currently available, there is something called deep brain stimulation, where they put a small number of electrodes in your brain, and will actually zap your brain with an electric current. And it's valuable for its uses, but it can't read or write high bandwidth information.
It's a bit like kicking the TV.
A bit like sort of kicking the TV, which does work, but not always, and it has limitations. Nonetheless, this has greatly helped over 150, and this is what's currently available. So we want to radically improve this by multiple orders of magnitude, improve it by a factor of 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. So going into the Neuralink architecture, what we've done over the past year is dramatically simplify the device. So we about a year ago, we had a device which had multiple parts, including a piece that had to sort of sit behind your ear, and it was complex, and you wouldn't still look totally normal. You'd have a thing behind your ear. So we've simplified this to simply something that is about the size of a large coin.
Oh, they're getting rid of
and
the
it goes
ear thing
in your skull, replaces a piece of skull,
in the model.
and the wires then connect within a few centimeters or about an inch away from the device.
Saves on
And
the
this
wires.
is sort of what it looks like.
Oh wow. It's like a 50-cent coin.
So
Wow, that looks
Yeah.
big as. The link, they're calling it.
this is that
yeah,
little device.
Oh damn.
It does, that
Still
thing at the
pretty
bottom
big.
is just to hold the threads in place because they're just like little fine wires.
Wow, look at the tiny wires. Everyone's
I mean,
messed up
frankly, to sort of simplify this, what we're, I mean, it's more complicated than this, but it's, in a lot of ways, it's kind of like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires.
Fitbit in your skull.
Fitbit in your skull.
And it's, yeah, so our current
0.9.
prototype version
It's pretty
0.9
advanced.
has about 1,000 channels. So
That's
that's
a big call.
about 100 times better than the next best
100 times.
consumer device that's available.
Wow.
And it's a 23 millimeters by 8 millimeters. It actually fits quite nicely in your skull because your skull is about 10 millimeters thick. So it fits, it goes flush with your skull, it's invisible, and all you can see afterwards is that there's a tiny scar. And if it's under your hair, you can't see it at all. In fact, I could have a Neuralink right now, and you wouldn't know. Maybe I do.
Oh.
I could have a Neuralink
And
right
it's also
now.
got all the things that you would expect to see, the sensors you'd expect to see in a smartwatch or a phone, like inertial measurement, temperature, pressure.
Wow.
So there's actually a lot of functions that this device could do related to monitoring your health and warning you about a possible heart attack or stroke or other damage, as well as sort of convenience features like playing music. You could do a lot.
My music.
It's sort of like if your phone went at your brain or something. Yeah, maybe that's not a great analogy. Anyway, so it's also inductively charged. So it's charged in the same way that you charge a smartwatch or a phone. And so you can use it all day, charge it at night, and have full functionality. So you would really,
Put it on your head.
yeah, it would be completely seamless, and
It's a USB-C.
yeah, no wires.
Great.
In terms of getting a link, so that, you need to have the device,
robot.
a great device, and you also need to have a great robot that puts in the electrodes and does the
Less
surgery.
than an hour.
So you want the surgery to be as automated
And without
as possible. And the only way you can achieve
anesthesia.
the level of precision
I can never
that's
say that
needed
word.
is with an advanced robot.
Maybe it's local.
So we're really looking for
anesthesia.
great people who can help develop
Yeah.
both the device
Yeah,
and the
without
robot.
general.
And we feel confident about getting the link procedure, the installation of a link, done in under an hour. So you can basically go in the morning and leave the hospital in the afternoon. And it can be done without general anesthesia. So in terms of getting a link, like I said, it's essentially you open a piece of skull, you remove about a coin-sized piece of skull, and then the robot inserts the electrodes. We'll talk more about that later. Then the device replaces the portion of skull that was removed,
so it is
and
inside.
we basically close that up with actually super glue, which is how a lot of wounds are closed.
Super glue.
And then you can just walk around right afterwards. It's pretty cool.
Bit of Sealy's.
So this is our surgical robot.
Oh wow. Oh, this is live.
And we actually ultimately want this robot to do
Is it?
essentially the entire surgery.
It's a
So
pre-filmed video.
Everything from incision, removing the skull, inserting the electrodes, placing the device, and then closing things up and having you ready to leave. So we want to have a fully automated system.
It's like, just don't move when you're there. It's like,
And to be clear, this robot does actually work. We've used it for all of the implantations.
which one's monkeys?
So this shows you a sort of close-up view, which I think is actually not too gruesome, of the electrodes being inserted in the brain. And if you look closely, you'll see that it's a little counterintuitive that if the
Stabbing like
electrodes are inserted very carefully, that there is no bleeding. And so if you have very tiny electrodes and
Red over here.
if they're inserted very carefully, so that the robot actually images the brain and makes sure to avoid any veins or arteries, so that the electrodes can be inserted with no noticeable damage. So you
It's
will
able
have
to check with the arteries.
no noticeable neural damage in inserting the link. Yeah, like you sort of think like if you stab something with a wire, surely it will bleed, but actually at a really small scale, it does not.
It does not bleed. If it bleeds,
So-
But does it
you
work?
can kill it.
Does it actually work?
But does it work?
And what I'm excited to show you, I call it like the Three Little Pigs demo. And if our animal handlers, we're bringing out the
They have
Oh,
pigs.
pigs! There
And what we're
literally
gonna show
is
you
3 little
is
pigs. Oh my god!
Well, I'll walk right over and show you.
They're not that little. They're pretty big pigs. They're not piglets. Holy shit! They got a live implant of pig.
So what we have in pen number 1 is
Oh, the animal
Joyce,
rights people are gonna get
and
Joyce.
she does not have an implant. Obviously healthy and happy.
implants.
We're trying to get Gertrude out. And this is how you know it's a live demo.
It's pretty-
She's like trying to eat something in the corner of her pen.
She's standing on the little stool.
Come on, Gertrude. Let's go. Snacks are this way.
He's having so much fun.
Oh man.
He's like, I could just make this whole video.
All right. We'll wait. We'll give Gertrude a second, and we'll move on to Dorothy.
He loves animals.
Sometimes the pigs are a little shy.
Dorothy, the
So
pig.
here's Dorothy. And in the
there
case
is
of Dorothy, Dorothy used to have an implant, and then we removed the implant. So this is a very important thing to demonstrate is reversibility. So if you have a Neuralink, and then you decide you don't want it, or you want to get an upgrade, and the Neuralink is removed, is it removed in such a way that you are still healthy and happy afterwards? And what Dorothy illustrates is that you can put in the Neuralink, remove it, and be healthy, happy, and indistinguishable from an
Show
old
us
pig.
the evidence.
Oh, thanks, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Man, Gertrude, are you serious? Okay.
He's probably made so many pig jokes now.
Well, should we bring them all out or something? Would that be better?
50,000 lifespan.
How about everyone just comes into this pen? And we'll have a few. It'll be a little crowded, but whatever.
Dislikes are from the people waiting.
Okay.
Oh,
All right. Well, is Gertrude still back in the thing? Okay, we need to bring Gertrude out. Yeah.
He's got another pig. Gertrude.
Mm.
We've all got names.
Oh, the beauty of live demos. This is real live demo.
They're trying to get the pig
All right.
to come out of the pen.
Maybe we can
Probably
zoom
too
in
smart
to
for it.
Gertrude or
It's like,
something.
I know what you're thinking.
She's clearly very interested
Yeah.
in something at the back of a pen.
I'm not coming out for at least $1 million pig currency. Pork coins.
I wonder who's actually in that room. If they're journalists or if they're just
Can you see
other
her?
VIP.
Yeah.
All right.
Probably part of the
There's
news.
not that many people. Mm.
It's like, come on. Come on.
All
Come
right, this
on.
might take a sec.
Trying to encourage the pig. The pig's too smart. Like, it's already, like, outwitted.
Well, this
the,
worked earlier.
pet owners.
It's transcended.
Yeah.
It's a trans pig.
It's probably, like, protesting on the street. Pig lives
Well,
matter.
pig rights.
Pig rights. Pork lives matters. Don't put a fork on your fork.
Oh, fuck.
All right. Well,
Well, we got the bacon index.
what if we lift the curtain and then zoom in?
Oh yeah. Lift the curtain. I like it. It's
right.
trying to feed a dog.
Here we go. Great.
What did they do?
It's too
Great.
smart. Yeah. They just carried the entire pot of food.
Okay. This is
It's not that smart.
a high energy pig.
Wow.
All right. Gertrude, thanks for coming out. So what the beeps you're hearing are real-time signals from the Neuralink in Gertrude's head.
Wow.
So this Neuralink connects to neurons that are in her snout. So whenever she snuffles around and touches something with her snout, that sends out neural spikes, which are detected here. And so on the screen, you can see each of the spikes from the 1,024 electrodes. And then if she snuffles around, touches this snout in the ground, or you kind of feed her some food, pigs love food, then you can see the neurons will fire much more than when you're not touching the snout. And that's what's making the beeping sound.
Oh.
All right, cool. So as you can see, we have a healthy and happy pig. Initially shy, but obviously high energy and kind of loving life. And she's had the implant for 2 months. So this is a healthy and happy pig with an implant that is 2 months old and working well. Yeah.
Wow.
All right, cool.
Glad they cut the audio on that.
And then we actually have, I hope this works, so we said, well, what if we do 2 Neuralink implants? And we've been able to do
as many as you want.
Dual Neuralink implants in, actually, I think 3 pigs at this point, and we have a couple of them here. And we've been able to show that you can actually have multiple Neuralinks implanted, and again, healthy and happy and indistinguishable from a normal pig. So,
I can't see it.
So it's possible to have multiple links in your head and have them all be sending out signals and be working well.
Where is it? They need to zoom in.
All right.
The implant. Like inside the pig.
Implant site.
Yeah.
I think it's just so tiny.
All right, so
That
we
there's
just showed
nothing
you a
to see.
demonstration of reading brain activity. And let's see, probably see that. As I was saying, each of those dots represents a neural spike, and the blue chart at the bottom is showing an accumulation of neural spikes in that region.
It's on a treadmill. Hey, I could use my treadmill for something.
In terms of additional brain reading
That's
activity,
like my Kogan one.
when we have, say, one of our pigs on a treadmill, pig on a treadmill.
Pig on a treadmill.
Funny concept, really. And we take the readings from the neurons, and we try to predict the position of the joints. And so we have the predicted position of the joints, and then we measure the actual position of the joints. You can see that they're almost exactly aligned. So we're able, with a wireless neural implant, to actually predict the position of all of the limbs in the pig's body with very high accuracy. Now, in terms of writing to the brain or stimulating neurons, we also need precise control of the electric field in space and time. We need a wide range of current for different brain regions. Some regions require delicate stimulation, some require a lot of current, and you want obviously no harm to the brain over time. And the way part of the way we analyze the stimulating neurons is with a 2-photon microscopy. I always have trouble pronouncing that, microscopy.
Yes.
It's very impressive technology. You can actually literally see in real time how the neurons are firing. So the red sort of things are the neurons. Red sort of flashing things are the neurons firing. Or I should say the electrodes firing. So the red things are electrodes firing, and then the green are the neuron bodies responding to the current from the electrode. So you can see them lighting up different brain regions. And then by carefully controlling the electric field, you can actually have one electrode influence possibly 1,000 or 10,000 neurons. So although you might only have 1,000 electrodes implanted, you could be influencing millions of neurons.
So it's just about the degree of fidelity.
And this is just a similar chart showing stimulation at different power levels. So, like I said, for the initial device, it's read-write in every channel with about 1,024 channels, all-day battery life, recharges overnight, has quite a long range. So you could have the range being to your phone, I should say. That's kind of an important thing. This would connect to your phone, and actually the application would be on your phone, and it will be communicating by essentially Bluetooth Low Energy to the device in your head.
Bluetooth head.
With an
That's why
app.
I say in a lot of ways it is like a Fitbit in your skull with tiny wires. So, and then, like I said, you would not be able to see the device at all. You would look
It's a shame
completely
the
normal and
model-
just have a small scar under your hair.
Implant is now redundant.
And we're making good progress with the FDA, and we'll be extremely rigorous. In fact, we will significantly exceed the minimum FDA guidelines for safety. We will make this as safe as possible. Just as with Tesla, while it is legally possible to ship a 1-star car, at Tesla, the only cars we make are 5 stars in every category. So we actually maximize safety, and we'll take the same approach here at Neuralink. And then to emphasize again,
I'm not really into. I just want to watch.
Okay,
we
that's
want
right. I'll just put you on mute.
people who are great at solving problems to join the company and help us complete this device, take care of the animals, write the software, create the chips, and productionize everything. So we need like robotics engineers. I think we also especially need people who have worked on and shipped products. So if you've like shipped a smartwatch or a phone, or any kind of complex electronics or complex device, or advanced medical devices, we'd love for you to contact us and consider working here. So, and a very important point to emphasize is that you do not need to have prior experience on brains. So a lot of people think, well, I couldn't possibly work at Neuralink because I don't know anything about how brains work. And that's okay, you can learn, but we need software engineering, we need mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, like I said, chip design, robotics, and all the things that a company needs to work. So please send in your resume. Actually, it's not just engineering, obviously everything at Neuralink. So now let's actually move to questions. So we've piled questions that have been asked over the internet, and so we'll do live Q&A. Bring in a bunch of people from the Neuralink team. All right.
Driving the revolution. Tesla. What the hell? There's a Tesla guy in here. Hey, dude, wrong announcement. Battery days later next month. Know anyone we know?
All right, cool.
You're on mute.
All right, so if you have any questions, please submit your questions to the Neuralink Twitter account, and we will try to answer as many questions as we can over the next hour. And feel free to ask hard questions, that's no problem, and we'll do our best to answer them. All right, let's move over to the team.
Perfect. Yes, we will continue monitoring questions until the end of the event, so please keep sending them in over Twitter. Elon, do you want to come join us? Sure. All right, so the first question is, how is the spike detection implemented? Is it on the ASIC? Is it hardware and software updatable?
Yes. Yeah, I can answer that. So I'm Paul. I work I've had a few different hats. I've worked a little bit on digital chip design, and more recently working on some of the algorithms trying to decode the signals from the brain. And the spike detection algorithm, there's historically been many ways of detecting spikes. Typically, people will record data offline and then look for characteristic shapes. But here, we're interested in detecting spikes online. And there's a number of simple algorithms that you can do, for example, like detecting just a threshold. And where we've been interested in doing a little bit better than that. So we actually look for particular shapes, characteristic shapes that we think are spikes. And so we're doing this on the chip. It's for all 1,024 electrodes. There's bandpass filtering that's happening on the chip. So if you think of these as like little microphones sending audio information, we're basically filtering all of that in real time and then looking for these characteristic shapes. You can configure what sort of shapes you're looking for, and that information is what's being sent out. The raw information coming from electrodes is way too much to send out over Bluetooth. So when you're seeing those beautiful spike rasters on the screen, those are the detections that we have coming straight from the chips.
Got it. And just for everyone who doesn't know, can you just explain at a basic level what a spike is?
Sure. So traditionally, people think of spikes or action potentials as the electrical events that happen in neurons and as the primary form of communication between neurons. And so this is a hysteresis event where you have currents that flow and generate this. You can think of it as being a digital signal, a 1 or a 0 that's being sent in time, where neurons will send that signal to often thousands of recipient neurons.
Awesome. Thanks, Paul. So I got a question from Toby on Twitter. He asks, what can be further done to simplify the device installation progress?
How much more simplified can you get?
So we're working on making the device as small as possible, of course, with the robot taking more and more of the responsibility away from error-prone human surgeons. We're hoping to make the process faster and safer.
Actually, it might be good for people to say, who they are and what they do.
I'm Matthew McDougall. I'm the head neurosurgeon at Neuralink.
Every time you talk, it's like I can't hear what they're saying.
Is there anything specifically from the robot that can be done to make this faster and safer and scalable to billions of people?
Yeah, I guess we've started with just implementing, robot manipulating the threads. But we definitely need to expand to essentially doing the entire surgery with a robot. So there's nothing like really, as far as I can tell, fundamentally like stopping us from doing that. Sort of like at a fundamental science level. It hasn't been done in the past, I think, probably just because like volumes of surgeries hasn't been needed. But specifically for us to scale up to many hundreds of thousands or millions of patients, we will need to automate like the entire surgery essentially.
Awesome, thank you, Ian. Garrett asks, what are some of the lower bandwidth activities to target first? Is it muscle movement? Is it auditory signals? What level of bandwidth is required for effective use?
So there's a couple of...
Joey,
just to say who you are and what you do.
Hi, my name is Joey O'Doherty. I'm a neuroscientist and neuroengineer working on decoding from the brain. So there's some low-hanging fruit that I think can really be impactful to help many people's lives, and that's restoring movement and communication in, for example, a spinal cord injured patient. And there's a lot of antecedents in the academic world where there have been very nice demonstrations of doing this. And we think we can take our technology and really bring that to the home, something people can take home with them and improve their lives.
Fantastic. Gil, there's a fun one next. All you.
Yeah, so we're fielding questions from Twitter, so there's going to be some funny comments. First question is, who are you and what do you do? I'll lead with that. And the question is, can the Neuralink chip allow you to summon your Tesla telepathically?
Definitely, of course.
You heard it here first. That's a definite 100%.
Yeah, that was a good
Carlos, that is the answer.
I like it.
It's just one bit of information.
Yeah, it's very easy. That's an easy one.
Yeah, it's easy.
Actually, Max, this might be a question for you. Like some of the questions we had on Twitter was, how do you see the Neuralink device and the essentially API growing over time and allowing developers to interact with the device?
So there's interesting questions long-term about whether you do decoding on head or on a phone or on a computer. Ultimately, so at 1,000 channels, it's possible to send all the spike data to a phone and do processing there. As this gets bigger and bigger, you're going to be more constrained by the radio, so you're going to want to push more of this on head, and that changes your programming model. But really, the APIs you're getting either bin spikes, or you're getting raw waveforms, and that's like, you can consume it basically like an audio feed.
Yeah, it's worth noting, like the lossless compression of the data stream is about 100 kilobits with 1,024 channels.
Excellent. So this one came up a lot, and this particular question is from Yosef, but will this technology ever be used for gaming?
Yeah, probably.
100%.
Yeah. 100%, yeah.
I think that a good benchmark of does it work well in humans is, can a quadriplegic, does it work well enough for them to play StarCraft? And it's a good functional target.
StarCraft, yeah. You can probably control it.
Yeah.
Awesome. We'll pull out back from the Twitter questions that are kind of funny. This is a question for the efficacy of the device. Right now, is the device limited to surface layers of the brain only, or can we go deeper? And if not now, what's holding us back from going deeper into the brain?
We are planning on modifying the device and the robot to be able to sew into arbitrary depths of the brain. Right now, we're limiting ourselves only to the cortical surface because that simplifies many of the problems involved with going a lot deeper.
And what kinds of things can you solve on the cortical surface versus when you go deeper?
Sure. So a lot of the low-level processing happens in the cortex in terms of motor intentions, sensory information that comes directly in. So your hearing, your auditory percepts, your visual processing, a lot of that happens in the cortex.
I mean, you could solve blindness. You could solve paralysis. You can solve hearing. You can solve a lot just by interfacing with the cortex. And to be clear, we actually do insert, I guess, about 3 or 4 millimeters into the cortex. So these electrodes are sensing from multiple layers within the cortex. It's that there are deeper brain systems that are underneath your cortex, like the hypothalamus, and I think that is something we'd want to interface with for sure, because that's going to be important for curing things like depression, addiction, that kind of thing, anxiety. But yeah, like I said in the presentation, overall we're aiming for a general purpose device, and really the thing that would change from interfacing with the cortex versus deep brain systems is kind of the length of the electrode. So we just need kind of longer wires and to adjust the robot in order to access deeper regions of the brain.
Awesome. Ian, did you have anything to add?
The robot is designed, the full length is 7 centimeters or 8 centimeters.
Yeah, so right now we're designed for 6 millimeters. The actuator itself isn't actually limited to 6 millimeters and go much deeper. That's sort of, in addition to scaling out sort of to the rest of the surgery, also scaling to deeper, which is mostly a sensing problem. So the ability to avoid deep vasculature is sort of an interesting problem that we're working on in the robotics world here. So yeah. Lots of cool problems in the robot.
And you're leading robot engineering.
Yeah, sorry, I'm Ian. I lead the robotics program here.
Here's my question.
Robot is a man's best friend. All right, next question is, what is the most challenging problem that must be solved in order to meet Neuralink's ultimate goal?
Well, I think one of the hardest problems is kind of, I'd say, material science and especially the installation of the electrodes. What would you say?
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, you want to introduce yourself?
So I'm Felix Deku. I currently lead the microfabrication team. My team makes up of a group of process engineers and material scientists, and our job is to make the tiny wires, as Elon referred to them, what we call the threads that are implanted in the brain. And of course, the threads are made of conductors and insulators, and choosing the right material that is amenable to the brain and compatible to the brain is something that our team have expertise on, and we work seriously on interface engineering just to make sure that our layers are actually well thought through, well designed, and at the end of the day, when we implant this device, they'll be actually functional for either reading or for writing in the brain.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be important in terms of material science problems is making sure that the threads, the electrodes, can last for decades in the brain, which is a tricky thing because it's a very corrosive environment, and you're in a dichotomy where you want to read and you want to sense electrical signals and you want to generate electrical signals, but you don't want to corrode the electrodes over time. So you need to have an insulating layer that is very robust, but also very, very thin. It has to be just the right amount of insulation, and it has to stay that amount of insulation over time. So this is why I think we think probably like a silicon carbide type insulator is probably the best long term from a material science standpoint. But silicon carbide is a tough material to work with, but that's probably the right choice long term. Would you say?
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's also, apart from its electrical properties, it also helps with adhesion between the metal layers and the polymer substrate. Another thing that we're also looking at is, since we're actually reducing the electric dimensions, the electro side, the actual side that actually speaks to the neuron, also have what we call high resistance to the signal. So we actually look into like material engineering that will reduce the impedance at that interface, so that we can actually have a very small electric side but still be able to speak clearly to the neuron.
And when you guys say thin, how thin?
How thin? So one strand of your hair is about 100 microns in diameter. We can think about dividing that into 20. So our one of the thickness that we're working on is about 5 microns, and we have this possibility to go even thinner in the nearest future. Yeah.
We think we can probably go submicron in thickness, but obviously as the thinner you make the wire, the harder it is to sense the signal and to do stimulation, because there's less cross-sectional area for the current to traverse. In terms of upgrades, that's part of why I wanted to show the explanted plig, is to show that you can actually take the device out, and there's no observable behavior change. The pig is as happy as before and healthy, and I think this is going to be important for upgrades, because obviously if you get an early device, then by the time, let's say you get version 1, probably by the time we have version 3 or 4, you want to upgrade. You wouldn't want version 1 of a phone, and 10 years later everyone's got version 3 or 4. So it's going to be important to be able to remove the device and upgrade it over time. So over time, the Neuralink would do even more than it did before.
Because you have to wait for the implanted holes to be.
So here's a question about the device.
In the brain.
We have been talking a lot about read speeds and we haven't talked about read or write speeds. DJ, what are the read and write speeds of the device, if you think of it like a computer?
Sorry, when you say speed, what do you mean?
Like, how quickly can you read information from the brain, and how quickly can you write information in the brain?
Okay, so let's see. So one of the things to highlight is that
DJ, what do you work on?
Yes, my name is DJ Ha. I'm leading implant electronics development.
Like a chip design.
And a chip designer, engineer. So the prototype that we were showing, it has 1,024 channels. All of those channels are capable of recording and also stimulating. And in terms of recording, as Paul mentioned, we do have on-chip algorithms to do level of compression and extracting the signals of interest, in this case, spikes, neural spikes.
Sure.
And those things are actually happening at a much faster speed than your brain even is processing those information.
Well, do you want to say like things like time resolution, like within how many milliseconds can you detect a spike, and what's the just some technical data?
So in terms of the signals that we're collecting, we're digitizing them at 20 kilohertz. Generally, the signals of interest are anywhere between about a millisecond in width, and so we sort of sample it at 20 times that speed. And we have analog to digital converters that divides that into 1024 levels, so 10-bit resolution. And the spike detection is done in less than 900 nanosecond, which is really, really a fast time. And it's only sort of determined by the speed of the clock. And for making sure that our implant is low power, we're running them actually at a very slow speed. And then for stimulation, we can actually create any arbitrary waveforms with about 7 microsecond of resolution. So basically, whatever you want to draw, we can stimulate and generate those pulses through any combination of our electrodes.
And this is just version 0.9, or aspirationally version 1. As we go to version 2, 3, 4, these things will expand, I think, ultimately by orders of magnitude, many orders of magnitude.
Great. Everyday Tesla asks, how big is the Neuralink team, and how much do you expect it to grow in the near future?
There were about 100 people right now. I think over time, there might be 10,000 or more people at Neuralink. So I think,
couple orders of magnitude?
Yeah, exactly. A couple orders of magnitude.
Wow.
Those are one of my favorite phrases.
Couple orders of magnitude.
Yeah, just, a couple orders of magnitude is no big deal. So
100x.
Probably the number of electrodes will grow with the number of people at the company.
Hopefully that's a super linear relationship.
Yeah. Well, we might need a million people at the company. Yeah, super, yeah. Even more. Yeah.
It's already at 1,000, so
Ideally, super linear.
Our hiring quotas are determined by our channel counts.
Yeah. Maybe it's 10 to 1 ratio or something.
Moore's law.
Cool. So Twitter asks, how does the implant system fare against various disturbances from the outside, like electrical, magnetic, Wi-Fi, radio?
Yeah, so the current version of the implant that we have is using Bluetooth low energy radio. So similar to any Bluetooth devices that are out there, they are able to coexist with other devices that are using and sharing our same spectrum in 2.4 gigahertz. Obviously, as you imagine, when you go to concerts or there's just a lot of people, the signal quality does degrade because it is a pretty congested spectrum. So we are actually working on some new versions of the radio that are operating at different frequencies to be able to also send out a lot more data and have it be scalable to millions of electrodes. And then also in terms of sort of electromagnetic compatibility and interferences, obviously it's very important for us to coexist with other systems and just disturbances out there. So there are also well-documented guidelines from FDA that we'll be following and doing a lot of testing for.
Fantastic. We're going to take an audience question. Fred, take it away.
So we all want to play StarCraft using Neuralink.
Yes.
But what are some likely first applications?
Well, I don't know if we all want to play StarCraft.
Every time you talk, I can't hear the video.
Games to play. Exactly.
But also StarCraft.
Hang on. Maybe I just got to adjust
Our first
sound.
clinical trial is aimed at people with paraplegia or tetraplegia, so cervical spinal cord injury. We're going to enroll, we plan to enroll a small number of patients to make sure the device is safe and that it works in that case.
So actually just to elaborate on that, if somebody is like a severe spinal cord injury, to the degree that they have very limited control even over their facial muscles, then but with this implant you can actually think just by thinking you can output words, and you can type, and you can control a computer, control a phone, and which is pretty wild. And I think something that's very exciting as a long-term application is if you can sense what somebody's trying to do with their limbs, what they want to do with their limbs, then you can actually do a second implant that's at the base of the spine or wherever, just after wherever the spinal injury occurred, and you can create a neural shunt. So I think long-term, I'm confident that long-term it will be possible to restore somebody's full body motion. So if somebody even has a severed spine, they will be able to walk again. They will be able to use their hands. And like when you have a severed spinal cord, you essentially have broken wires. And so if you can just jump over those wires and transmit the signals over those wires, you can give somebody the ability to walk again, naturally.
So much better than exoskeleton solution.
So DJ, you talked about outside interference. Can anyone talk about the inside interference? So how to protect the implant from the body?
Sure, I can talk about that. My name is Robin. I'm a mechanical engineer, and I lead the implant mechanical packaging and assembly team. So actually making the devices and designing the seal. So yeah, the body's not a friendly place to be. So what we do is basically create an accelerated test chamber that can mimic the conditions that the devices will see in the body, and basically test the devices at as fast as accelerated rate as we can. At this time, we're limited temperature-wise by some of the electronics components, but basically we can test subsystems to mimic the environment in the body. And by that, we've brought some devices in the tester right now to almost a year, and all the implanted ones prior to these implants, we had tested the same architecture in the tester to validate it. And yeah, so there's obviously chemical things attacking the implant. There's pressure. There's mechanical shock and vibration. So all of these things are part of it. And yeah, I think one of the things that really helps is having everything insourced in-house. So we have the capability to deposit thin layers of metal. We have the capability to weld glass and machine micron scale with lasers. And yeah, so basically we have all the tools in-house to be able to design any sort of sealing, enclosure, packaging that we need to do.
She looks like she hasn't had any sleep.
Awesome. Thank you, Robin.
Days.
Another question from Twitter. Will you be able to save and replay memories in the future?
Yes, I think in the
That's
future you'll be able to
Zillis.
save and replay memories.
Yeah, she got a special invite.
I mean, this is obviously sounding increasingly like a Black Mirror episode, but well, I guess they're pretty good at predicting. But yeah, essentially, if you have a whole RAIN interface, everything that's encoded in memory, you could upload. You could basically store your memories as a backup.
No, she works at Neuralink.
Oh, that's right.
And ultimately, you could potentially download them into a new body or into a robot body.
These are
The future is going to be weird.
Dorothy Dixon questions.
Cool. So I can't help but notice that the pigs back there are pretty well behaved and pretty darn cute. Can anyone talk about? I'm looking at Autumn over here. First, can you tell everyone who you are and what you do here? And can you describe how are they so well behaved and so smart?
Well, I'm Autumn, and I lead our animal care program. And our philosophy here is to set up a system where the animals are able to volunteer, to make choices, to participate in our projects. As you see, sometimes they choose not to participate, and that's okay. We want to make sure that our animals are happy and healthy. So all of the behavioral research that we do is led by positive reinforcement. And again, that allows for them to choose to volunteer or not.
Sam's also on our animal care team. Sam, do you have anything to add to that?
Hi, I'm Sam. One of the veterinarians here. Work closely with Autumn, taking care of the animals. And yeah, it's just emphasizing what Autumn said. The whole animal care program here, in fact, the whole company here is very dedicated to promoting the care of these animals. Everybody is involved. Everybody's very interested in making sure that they're taken care of. And yeah, the program from top to bottom is designed to make sure that they can express their species-specific behaviors, choose to do things. We don't force things upon them as much as possible. And yeah, that's why you see the pigs happily rooting around the straw right now and generally being very content.
They do have those natural little smiles on their faces, which is ever delightful. Next question is, what programming language are you guys using for developing the device?
Several. We use several different types of programming languages. So for chip development, a lot of Verilog for doing low-level programming at the kind of the register transfer level. As you go up higher and higher, there are various C, C++, Python. But to be honest, at the end of the day, it's not which programming language do you know how to use. It's do you know the principles behind coming up with just methods to enable these systems to work. So I think if you have any experience in programming and you've been building things since you're little, you should really come join us.
Yeah, but can I play Crisis?
Yes, that was the question. That was one of the
Eventually.
questions.
What was that?
It can
That
play
was one of the
Crisis.
questions. Can it play Crisis?
Cool. Crisis confirmed. And then Ian, what about Ian, what about the robot? What kind of programming languages and tech stacks are you using over there?
Sort of just reiterating what DJ said, sort of doesn't matter. Specifically for us, there's a real-time low-level platform, C++, some Java and Python scripts. But really, those are more just pragmatic choices to essentially optimize for getting productive work done. So it doesn't really matter what your background is or necessarily what the tools you use are. It's more just can you accomplish things really quickly.
He needs one of the Neuralink masks.
Awesome. This next question is from This Is Rex. They're wondering, can this device be used to explain consciousness?
Oh, yeah.
In the long term, of course.
I can certainly shed some light on consciousness.
This is a really interesting question. I think the answer is yes. And I think one of the reasons that consciousness is so hard is because, like anything in physics, you're looking at a mapping from X to Y, where X is the neuronal correlates, it's the thing that's happening then physically, and then Y is this phenomenal state. And historically, we've been unable to observe the neuronal correlates very well, and unless it's in you, we've been unable to observe the phenomenal state. So as soon as we're able, neuroscientists are able to personally get these tools where they can see the correlates and they can have the experience, I think the hard problem will vanish very quickly.
Yeah, it's like a black hole.
What I find remarkable is that the universe started out as like quarks and leptons. We'll call it like hydrogen, and then after a long time, well, what seems like a long time to us, the hydrogen became sentient. It gradually got more complex, and then but we're basically hydrogen evolved, and somewhere along the way that hydrogen started talking and thought it was conscious.
Hi, hydrogen.
I like the joke that it turns out that if you bombard Earth with photons for long enough, it'll emit a Tesla.
Exactly. Yeah, that's exactly what happened.
Such nerd jokes.
Just basic science, guys.
Yeah.
It's
So
just
they teach you in school. Yeah, so there's a lot of Twitter comments coming in about a question that I think is on everyone's mind, no pun intended. What is the security of the device look like? What kind of precautions are being taken, and what does the future look like for the security of the system?
So first and foremost, privacy and security are top priorities at Neuralink, especially given the sensitivity of the data that we're collecting. And one of the things that we're ensuring is to make sure that a lot of the interactions with the brain data is going to be encrypted and authenticated properly. And I think this has been kind of a sort of recurring theme, but one of the things that we have the ability to do at Neuralink is that we work on every layer of the product, from chip design to source code, and it really gives us a unique opportunity to embed security as part of our design from the get-go, and to make sure that there are no single points of failure. So if, as an example, we can actually completely isolate sensitive modules like the BLE radio by just segregating it out at the hardware level, and really making sure that we protect the I/O to the brain away from any potential attacks, and really minimizing the attack surface. And we have in-house security expertise, and we're also working with external parties to do audits and perform penetration testing.
Excellent. Thank you, DJ.
SOX control.
Well, actually, is there a point that anybody here wants to make that has not been asked in a question, but you think should be a question? Anyone?
Use the Neuralink.
So, hey, I'm Zach. I work on the microfabrication team. I help making implants. And one thing that I think is really cool, just in general, is that this is a platform, essentially, so we can change the design up in a variety of ways. So if we find that a certain design or electrode size or number of electrodes works better in different areas of the brain, we have the capability to do that. I personally think that's very cool.
Fantastic. Anyone else? Dan, do you have something to add?
Yeah, I think one of the things that's allowed us to make such fast progress in the last few months is the use of pigs as a model. And we started out choosing pigs because of the very similar anatomy of their skull to humans, same thickness and similar kind of membrane, dural membrane. But then as time went on, we realized that pigs are actually have amazing other properties. You can train them to walk on treadmills. You can train them to do all kinds of tricks, and also that they have this large representation of the snout in the cortex, which you can very easily stimulate. So the question would be, why are we using pigs? And I think we've even surprised ourselves at how useful they are as a model in this respect. And another important point is that it's very easy to keep pigs happy. They have very low needs, and so we can build an environment in which they have amazingly good welfare.
Yeah,
Seem very happy about food.
Yeah, it's easy to make pigs happy. Basically, they love food. Pigs really love food. This is a true thing about pigs. Give them sort of some straw and some things to play with, and some friends to hang out with, and good food, and they're happy as pigs. Pigs are actually quite similar to people. So if we're going to figure out things for people, then pigs are a good choice. And they're quite robust creatures, like little tanks. And then I think one of the questions was like, what if, like, is the device itself robust? And it's like, well, pigs, they bustle around quite a lot, and they bump into things, and they headbutt each other at times, and they're pretty animated. So if the device is lasting in the pig, as it lasted there for 2 months, and still going strong, then that's a good sign that the device is robust for people.
Fantastic. One common theme that's been coming up a lot on these Twitter questions coming in is that of availability. And so Matthias has a specific question on this, which is any estimate of how much it will cost at launch and what price it will reduce to over time?
Well, I think at launch, it's probably going to be, I would say that's not really representative, because at first, I think it's going to be quite expensive, but that price will very rapidly drop. And I think over time, we want to get the cost obviously down as low as possible. But I think inclusive of the automated surgery, I think we want to get the price down to a few $1,000s, something like that. And I think that's possible. I think it should be possible to get it similar to LASIK, and then the device electronics itself, I think will not be very expensive, because it actually does use a lot of the parts that are made in extremely high volume in tens of millions of units for smartphones and smartwatches and wearables in general.
Great. So here's another question about the device. What does the architecture look like? Is it a CPU, ARM CPU? What's going on inside the device that you can talk about, DJ?
I can talk a little bit about the digital architecture. It's fully custom. One of the most difficult challenges, I think, of building an implant is the energy density. So the more electrodes you record from, the more energy you're going to be consuming. And so there was nothing commercial out there. So there's an analog front end that's able to amplify these really small signals, like microvolt range, so that we can actually digitize them, and then take those signals and then find exactly what we're looking for. And there was nothing out there that could basically do those two things, and so that's why we had to build a full custom ASIC. And so there's really there's nothing out like it out there. It's designed specifically to record signals from the brain, and anything else would just be wasting energy.
Yeah. So the thing that I would add to that is so there are obviously elements that we customize from ground up, like our neural amplifiers and some of the algorithms that we develop, but a lot of the other systems around it are really borrowing from parts that are already been productionized and available from the wearables industry. So BLE radio, a lot of the low power microprocessors that are part of it, a lot of small sensors. So there are obviously the neural sensors that we're developing that gives us kind of a unique data set for our applications, but really a lot of that is getting packaged up and just not really resisting the industry that's been sort of been laid out to really create these devices with very short amount of time.
So here's another question about the integrity of the device, more from a mechanical perspective. So you're replacing a piece of bone and replacing it with an implant, and then the person is going to take that home. How does the integrity of the device fare compared to, I don't know, bone or something similar?
Sure. Well, I think Matt's probably replaced a lot of pieces of skull with plastic and other materials, so I don't know if you can talk about some of those. But yeah, basically, I mean, we know that what the mechanical properties of bone are, and we know what the stresses on the device are going to be. So it's fairly easy to just go from first principles and design for any condition that it might see.
I mean, as you can see from the pigs, as I was saying earlier, the implants are obviously very robust.